Well,
Good evening and welcome to Transition Talks Tuesdays. My name is Tim Markle. I am the director of the Wisconsin Youth Health Transition Initiative. Transition Talks Tuesday Spring 2025 is being partnered with the Mount Horeb Area School District Transition Team. And tonight we have Bill here from the Aging and Disability Resource Center, also known as the ADRC. We refer to the ADRC as your next step partner, as one of those people that you need to know as you are becoming an adult, when you turn 18, especially if you have a disability or special health care need. So, Bill, I am excited that you're here. I'll turn it over to you. I'll keep an eye on the chat and we can just go for it.
that sounds good, Tim. I'm glad to be here as well. My name is Bill Huisheere, and I'm a supervisor at the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dane County. And as Tim in his intro mentioned, the ADRC plays a unique role in helping young adults with physical and developmental disabilities bridge from high school to adult services. Those adult services are part of the long-term care program that's offered throughout the state of Wisconsin. Those programs you may have heard are called Family Care, Partnership, and IRIS. So the ADRC's role is to determine eligibility for those adult programs that are designed to help people with disabilities and older adults live and work in the community. And so the ADRC, again, is that bridge to those adult services. And tonight I'm going to talk about the eligibility criteria, the process of determining eligibility, and how we connect people and these young adults to those long-term care programs. So I encourage folks to check out the ADRC's website. And I'm going to share my screen and walk you through some of uh, what our website offers and how you can benefit from it. So hopefully you're seeing the screen. And this is our homepage. And if you click on this drop-down box under services, it's going to take you to transition services. And that talks about youth and transition and um, an overview of that process. It also includes um, the request for service form. That's an important first step in making an inquiry to the ADRC of Dane County, expressing your desire to have your young adult assessed for adult services. Um, and so eligibility criteria for these programs, the earliest that we can begin to assess that is at the age of 17 and a half years of age. So when your young adult turns 17 and a half, that would be the time to reach out to the ADRC. And if you are someone who is already working with a CLTS case manager or the children's long-term support, that case manager takes the lead in filling out this form and providing us the necessary documentation in order for us to begin that eligibility process. If you are not connected to a CLTS case manager, you would want to fill out a request for service form. And you just click on that page that I did or that link that I did, and it describes the eligibility criteria in more detail. It talks about, again, at 17 and a half is when we can begin to assess eligibility. And I'll make that a little bigger for us. The person needs to be a resident of Dane County in order for the ADRC of Dane County to be involved. So if you are someone that is living in a community outside of Dane County, you would contact your local ADRC, and they will do the same process as we are. The person needs to have a documented physical or developmental disability from a medical professional. Um, and that disability needs to cause the person to um, need help from other people. So that is what we do in our assessment in what's called the long-term care functional screen. So that assessment is when we come to your home, sit down with you and your loved one and just talk about their average day. What type of help do they need with cooking, with cleaning, with budgeting, bathing, dressing, all aspects that all of us are with our daily living. And that help can be either physical hands-on assistance or it can be verbal cues. So you may have a loved one who, although they are independent with taking a shower, they wouldn't take that shower if you didn't remind them or encourage them to do so. So that is the eligibility criteria. Here is that request for service form that I mentioned. And it's a real simple form. You know, name, address, date of birth, what school they're going to, the family contact, who their medical provider is, and if they're involved with a case manager and what their diagnosis is. And that form can be either mailed to us or emailed to us. Once I get that form, and again, if you have a CLTS case manager, they're going to do this on your behalf. So you wouldn't have to fill the form out. Once we get that form, I then make some phone calls to get a release of information form signed for a doctor and school records. Once I get that information, then I assign one of our high school transition specialists to get in touch with the parent typically, and they then schedule a time to come to your home and complete that assessment. And Tim, I don't know if there are any questions in the chat yet regarding any of what I've talked about, but you let me know if there are. And so that assessment, again, it takes about an hour, hour and a half, us just sitting down at your home, at the kitchen table, in the living room, asking questions, and you just providing us the information that we're looking for. The young adult can participate in that assessment for as little or as long as they would like to, but they do need to be present for at least part of it. That is the functional eligibility. In addition to the functional eligibility, a person must be on Medicaid because Medicaid or MA is what pays for these programs. And so when we're working with young adults, we oftentimes see that they're on Katie Beckett. That's a form of Medicaid. SSI is another form of Medicaid. And if you do not have one of those sources of Medicaid, our staff will help you understand what your options are. We have information on how to apply for SSI benefits, and SSI stands for Supplemental Security Income. And that supplemental security income is determined by the Social Security Administration. And the benefits of SSI include a financial monthly payment as well as Medicaid. There are some additional forms of Medicaid, but I don't want to bore you or overwhelm you with that information. Our staff will walk you through your options when they meet with you. So that is the eligibility process. Again, we need to complete that assessment and then ensure that the person is on Medicaid. So assuming, let's say we go through that process and a person is eligible. Well, what are they eligible for is the question, right? You did that, that's good. You know, we got that down. Again, you become eligible for these long-term care programs. And these programs, again, are designed to help people with disabilities work in the community. So oftentimes young adults are receiving their job coaching from school. That's going to end when either at 18 or if they stay through the transition program through the age of 21, through the high school. When that ends, these long-term care programs can pay for job coaching. And that job coach could be someone that is with your son or daughter throughout their workday, or depending upon their independence level, that job coach may stop in once a day, get you started, leave, and come back the next day and do the same thing. Sometimes it's just a weekly check-in. It really all depends upon your loved one's needs. There's also residential services, which means when your loved one no longer lives with you and they need help, if they were going to live in an apartment, to make sure the apartment's clean, laundry is done, groceries are bought, meals are cooked, bills are paid. Those are the types of services when we are discussing residential programs. So again, these long-term care programs help people live and work in the community. Our staff, when they meet with you, determine eligibility, they'll come back out and talk to you about these programs in more detail to help you identify which program is going to be the best fit for your loved one. These programs are very similar, but they do have some nuance and some differences. And our staff would talk you through those to find out what's going to be best for you and your loved one. Other topics regarding transition. So there's so much to go through at 18 or so. Parents have questions about guardianship. Does my loved one need a guardian? We have resources that can help you with that. And they're on our transition planning resources. So we have guardianship and alternatives to guardianship. Not everyone needs a guardian. There's such a thing called supported decision-making that allows you to kind of team up with your loved one to make the life decisions. Financial planning, we have lots of information on special needs trusts and ABLE accounts. What are these things, you say? So to be eligible for Medicaid, a person needs to remain under the $2,000 asset limit. That means they cannot have more than $2,000 available to them. So their checking account can't go above $2,000. And so when a young person has more than that amount of money, maybe they were left money from their grandparents or somebody else. These special needs trust and ABLE accounts allow a person to have higher assets that are kept in a trust that do not impact their Social Security supplemental SSI eligibility. So we have information about those options. There's information about transportation. And that's a big issue oftentimes, especially in rural communities like Mount Horeb. And that is again a service that these long-term programs can pay for. We have information about how to apply for social SSI benefits, how to create your Social Security account, and so on. So lots of information available on our website, but again, our staff are very knowledgeable about all these options and are going to walk you through this process. We are the bridge to adult services, and you don't walk that bridge alone. That's what our staff at the ADRC are here to help. And I'm just looking at the rest of our website here as it relates to transition services. Bear with me. Again, guardianship, alternatives to guardianship, financial planning, transportation, how to apply for Social Security benefits. We also have information about various advocacy groups, Disability Rights Wisconsin, and a number of other folks that can help advocate if so needed. various disability-specific organizations, the Autism Society, Down Syndrome Association, Council for the Blind. And there's also information about children's, folks under the age of 18. And let me see here. We also have a community events page, and there is an event coming up later this month on April 23rd. It's called Looking Forward. It's options after high school. And you can, this is an evening seminar and transition resource fair for all Dane County students with disability ages 13 and up. So there's schools, there's folks from Madison College there, and other adult programs and services at that event.
Yeah, I think the ADRC of Dane County is going to be there. I know Youth Health Transition
will be.
Initiative is going to be there. And we have a question in the chat for you.
Yes.
So, Bill, talking about Social Security, when would someone have to go to the Social Security office?
They should be able to do the application online. That will begin the process. And then there is typically a phone interview that you set up with someone from Social Security. So going to the office is at this point is not required that I know of. That is something done online to begin the process, and then you will schedule a phone interview with a representative from Social Security. Now, if a young person is denied SSI benefits, and that happens, and it happens more often than you might think. We have disability benefit specialists on staff, and their main job is to help people who have been denied SSI. And they can help with that appeal free of charge. They have a consulting attorney through the Department of Health Services that they work with. So if you should have your loved one be denied SSI benefits, it's important to look at that denial letter, contact the ADRC as soon as you can so that we can help you with that appeal and make sure that we abide by the appeal dates. That's super important so that you don't have to reapply if you are too late in beginning that appeal. So the answer is no, you shouldn't have to go to the local Social Security office to apply for SSI. Are there any other questions, Tim, or things?
No, that's really good. I was wondering too about that whole, it's always that question, okay, what do I do first? Especially if, and you're doing a great job with this whole, my child has children's long-term support, which means they have Medicaid, maybe they're receiving SSI. You have to do something or it's all going to go away at 18. And so this explaining, the Aging Disability Resource Center can help you make those connections to the long-term support, to Medicaid, to SSI.
Exactly. And we do have a very nice document that I'll try to find here that describes all the steps one needs to take there it is. Yes. How to apply for Social Security SSI benefits. And it is a very nice, we think it's pretty easy to follow as to what you'll need to do and when you need to do it. So you don't want to apply for SSI too early because then they look at the parent's income, which will often make a person not eligible. So this describes when to apply for SSI, typically the month after a person turns 18. We have a checklist of all the things that you'll want to have ready. And then, part one, part two. So I would just encourage people to check this out. If you have questions, you can talk to one of our staff. we can work through that with you. And it says here, phone interviews are preferred as the most efficient way to get the application started.
Okay. I have put that onto the resource sheet as well as linked it into the chat.
Good.
So they should be able to get that help.
Excellent.
Not seeing any other questions right now.
Okay. Again, the takeaways here at 17 and a half is the time you can begin the eligibility determination process. If a CLTS case manager is involved, they will take care of that paperwork to get the ball rolling. If not, I showed you that service request form that you'll need to fill out and send to the ADRC of Dane County. I will then be in touch to gather any additional information that's needed, and that's how we will move forward with all these referrals. The earliest a person can enroll in a long-term care program is at the age of 18. So we can start the assessment at 17 and a half typically with the desire that they are, if they're eligible, that they could begin adult programs at the age of 18. Sometimes it's later, that's not a big deal. But the earliest they can start with one of these long-term care programs, family care, partnership, or IRIS, is at the age of 18.
Checking the chat here.
I should say that, Dane County, we work really closely with all the different schools. So, and that includes Mount Horeb. And oftentimes teachers will reach out if there's not a CLTS case manager. They can also help the parents fill out the form and help coordinate any home visits if need be. But we have a really good relationship with all the different schools.
And I do appreciate that fact, because I know that not all of our families are on children's long-term support. So Bill, even as we look at transition, what will how will the Dane County ADRC help? Let's say we go through the process and someone is not eligible for adult long-term support. How is the ADRC going to be able to help support that person in the community?
Well, if a person is found not eligible, they always have the right to appeal that decision. And I would strongly encourage a parent to do that. We would, if that were the case, we would provide you the information as to what you need to do to file that appeal. Assuming, let's say that we go through that appeal process, the person is still found not eligible, then it's a discussion of, what are the gaps? What do you need help? What does that person need help with? So if it's job related, they need help with finding a job, we would encourage you to contact the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, or DVR. They can help people, do job exploration, paying for job related modifications. So that would be one option. If they are looking at recreational services, there's lots of there's Special Olympics, Love Dane, other programs that can help with that social aspect. And it really just depends on what the individual, what those gaps are, as to what resources we may recommend. The ADRC is short-term in nature. We're that bridge. So the bridge can be shorter or longer, but it does end at one point. And so we do not provide long-term case management services. If a family is interested in that, is not eligible. There are private pay options that we have lists of support brokers are called, or private pay case management that we could help refer someone to who would be able to stay involved longer than the ADRC is.
Yeah, I really like that image of the bridge, is that connecting to what's going to be supportive for that family, depending on the individual, because it will be different for each family.
Absolutely, yes, and that's the key. These long-term care programs are are designed to be consumer driven and specific to the needs of the person. So one person may need somebody with them 24/7, and other people don't need that level of support. And so these programs, they do their own assessment, develop a support plan with the parents and the individual, and anyone else that you want involved. But they are all very unique and specific. Each plan is different.
Any other questions? You can feel free to unmute, raise your hand, or put it in the chat, and I will be sure to relay that question to Bill. So just take a couple of moments there to see if there's any other questions out there. I really appreciate the walk through the website. For some reason, I was definitely more in the mood for a website than a PowerPoint tonight. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. I've gone away from PowerPoints and just moved to the website demo because then people can hopefully see it, be exposed to it and know, oh, I should go to the ADRC of Dane County. Just put that in the search engine. We're going to pop up, and hopefully you'll be able to find what you're looking for.
And like you said, even if someone's listening to this and they're not in Dane County, there are ADRCs across Wisconsin, and we do put the link in. I did put the link in the chat about how to find your ADRC, and
Oh,
that'll
good.
also be on the resource sheet.
Yes. Yeah. So other ADRCs, they would have their own. They may not have that service request form that we've developed, but they have some way of doing their intake, and so it may be slightly different, but overall, it should be a pretty similar process.
Okay, I am not seeing anything else in the chat. So unless you have any final words, we can let people return to the 30-degree weather outside.
Yeah, I know. Spraying kind of here.
Oh.
I've met many families over the years, and this is an overwhelming time. So you should not feel alone in that feeling. It is to be expected because there are so many things. You're looking at your young adult is becoming an adult, and school is going to be ending soon. You've been used to having school involved in their lives. Then there's a guardianship and social security, SSI, all these things to consider. So it is overwhelming. However, I just encourage people to take one step at a time. The ADRC is there to help you answer those questions and connect you to the right resources. And the outcomes, people I hear all the time when I go and do these types of presentations. I hear really positive feedback from families that said, "Oh, I'm so thankful that staff came out and they really explained things in a way that was manageable and understandable." And that's I know we've got great staff.
So I know a few of them, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, they're
I
good folks.
enjoy working with them. And then I just really quick, I just wanted to drop that events link for the looking forward options. If you're around Dane County, come on out, and we'd love to see you out there that night. All right. I don't see any other final questions. So Bill, thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate your time this evening. I promise next time I will take out billboards. maybe skywriting, to drive people to the event here tonight, so that
Right.
you have a few more people to interact with. So, maybe one of those rolling billboards on the back of a car. I don't know. I'll figure
I
something
look forward to seeing that, Tim. Yeah,
out.
we'll put it on
Maybe,
our Facebook page.
yeah, exactly. Well, Bill, knowing me, it may just be like a piece of cardboard in the back of my car.
Right.
So don't expect too much.
Yes. Hey, and I should give a plug. We do have a Facebook webpage,
Oh,
so people should feel free to check out the ADRC of Dane County on Facebook, like us, and they have some great information. And I
we'll
should
keep that
say,
on the resource.
many of the parents, are, raising their young adults, um, and they may have parents who are in need of some help. And that's an important thing. So, if you are caught in that sandwich between helping your kids as well as your aging parents who may be having some struggles or changes, feel free to reach out to the ADRC as well. We can help you with understanding what programs and services may be available for folks who are experiencing issues
Yeah.
related to aging.
Which will hopefully eventually be all of us.
Yes, well, we're not too soon.
No, no, that I can push those out a little bit, but
Right,
I,
exactly.
I
But we're
every
here.
every day I seem to wake up with a greater realization of my.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Hope you have a great evening. Thank you all for joining us. Yeah, and yes, this will be as soon as I can get it onto the website. I'll have this recorded so you can hear the first part, which was really great. Thanks again, Bill. Really
Oh,
appreciate
my
it.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.